This is going to be my review for the Leadjoy Xeno Plus controller. And I have to say thank you very much to Leadjoy for reaching out after watching a controller review video where I didn't recommend the controller. Actually, I said it was terrible. It had so many problems. So they reach out to me and they're like, we want to know what you think about our controller. Great. So let's get into it. I'm gonna start by saying that there's no way I can say that I cannot recommend this controller because it is very well priced. It is not trying to be the best of the best. I think this controller is aiming for those who want a great controller, but you don't want to spend as much money as you can spend on these controllers. So you want a very well priced controller that's very good. That's what this is trying to do. So I'm not gonna be unfair and be like, okay, the vibrations are actually very, very poor, because maybe I am spoiled from other controllers that I have that are much more expensive. But let me tell you, the vibrations are not great. And for me, the biggest reason really I enjoy playing with controller is because they have vibration. If you turn off the vibrations completely, I would play with mouse and keyboard, I think. So it seems like that's one of the things they use to save the money. And also, I saw a reviewer that showed some rattling on the vibrations. I don't have that problem myself. I don't have any rattling, and the vibrations are not bad. I would use them. They are nice enough, like you can enjoy the controller with these vibrations. But in comparison with the rest of the controllers I have, these are the weakest vibrations. It just doesn't have the detail, it doesn't have the power, it doesn't have the quality of other controllers. So I would say that is the lowest point of this controller. And it's not that bad. It's not that bad, it's simply not great. Now, the build quality is very good, but I did notice some minor micro scratches in the surface of the plastic. But I'm talking about, I am very picky. Okay, so I'm looking at it through the light and I'm like, there's like a micro scratch here. Like if you use your nail and you start doing this, yeah, exactly. So basically, if I just did that, I just scratched the surface of the controller. So it seems like it is just, let me see if it goes away. No, it actually doesn't go away. I just permanently scratched the controller. Yeah, so it is just the material, the way the surface has this roughness, which is nice to get it some grip in the front. But it has that issue. You're gonna see some minor micro scratches, but it's not deep. It's very, very, very shallow. Like you cannot feel it. It's just visually not a big deal. But I have to mention that because some people don't like any imperfections, so I'm looking at it under the microscope. Now, the back of the controller is plastic, and it does have a different texture. So you have a little bit more grip, but it doesn't work to add more grip because it's just almost as grippy as the front, just a little bit more grippy. And it is a very light controller. So some people might like that. It's very light actually. I would say it's the lightest controller I have, and it is also very small. Very small. But I don't have an issue with my pinky going like this because the handles are too short. So the ergonomics of this controller is good, very good. I like it, but it is very small. I would like it to be bigger, but it is perfectly usable. I have been playing with it for a while and I don't feel any discomfort. I like the ergonomics. Now, what else negative I can say about this controller? Well, maybe this USB-C port could have something similar to the G7 Pro. I always mention this because I feel like this should be a standard across the industry, because I feel like it adds no cost whatsoever. I mean, this is just a piece of plastic that you can just snap in, and then when you connect the cable, it's gonna be snug. Now on this one, I have to use something on the cable because it actually doesn't work as intended. I had another G7 Pro that was working as intended, but it's something you can fix with a rubber or something on your cable. But in any case, I feel like this should be a standard for all controllers. I don't believe that's going to add anything to the cost, really. Very insignificant. And I feel like long term, to have the cable not moving at all, it is a big deal, especially if you want to use the gyro of the controller. So if you want the best input lag and you want to wire the controller for the best input lag, you're using the gyro, you have a cable that's wiggling, long term, that's definitely going to break. It will. But I do see that the port is deep enough, and it has some plastic, so it might hold very well long term. Maybe it would never have an issue with it. But that's one negative I can point out. Another thing I can say is that I really like the additional top buttons in other controllers. This one doesn't have that. This one has 4 additional back buttons that are very good, and I'm gonna talk about them. But it is missing these 2 top buttons. It would be so great if we had these 2 additional top buttons plus the 4 back buttons. So from the negatives, really, another thing is this controller doesn't have any sticks, any replaceable sticks to have a taller right stick for aiming. Like, you get what you get basically, and you don't get these red stick caps. I got this separately from another. It says GameSir stick caps. The controller comes with these sticks, and you don't have any other additional replacements. Now you can buy them. They made those, but it seems like they don't have a lot of those, so they sell them separately, and they are not even available. I tried to buy them one day, and next day they were gone. So I actually asked them, hey, can you send me some? And they're like, yeah, we are running short of them. So that is definitely a shortcoming, because especially to play first-person shooters, I want to have a taller stick. And I do like a lot these sticks because they have the grippiest rubber I have ever seen on any controller. This is super grippy, super grippy. So I really want to buy the extra sticks that they sell because they are also coming with this grippy material, and they have a convex, stick, and they have a dome, which is my favorite, and they have a taller stick basically. But they don't come included with a controller. So if you buy the controller and then you buy the extra taller sticks, maybe you get into territory of better controllers. So then it no longer is the super value controller. Those are not very expensive. I think it's like $15 or something like that. But I wish they included that with the controller basically, because I need them. See, I do have these extra stick caps, but it's not enough. I want the stick to be taller than that. And then I have this, which is taller, but it's not a dome. So I need to get some control freaks or something to have a taller dome to use this controller, or wait until the additional sticks are in stock. So that's a big deal, because it is very important for me to play first-person shooter games to have the taller sticks. Now, the other thing I can say about this controller is that these 4 back buttons, you cannot press them at the same time easily. Like, the ergonomics of the controller are not made for you to have four fingers on the back and then have them ready to press. So you're supposed to just use one finger to press this one, and then if you want to press the other one, maybe you can press it like with your extensor muscles, like doing this. Or you can just swap, change from one to the other. And they are different. See, these are clicky, and I have to tell you, this is like one of the best, most. So I'm gonna start talking about the good things, because I think that's where the downsides or the negative, or the least favorite things end. Really, the rest is great. Like, this controller is very good. I really like these back buttons. Just listen to this. It has this mouse click, and not only that, it feels so satisfying to press because it has a nice travel distance. I like these back buttons so much that I would try to replace the triggers to play with these back buttons, because it feels so amazing. So I'll be like, man, I think I'm gonna aim with this and then fire with this, because it's just so amazing, so satisfying to press. And these 2 buttons, they are not clicky, they are quiet. So they have a completely different feel. It's like big difference. And I have to say, I can, with my left middle finger, I have no issue pressing both, because I can do this, and then with this part of the finger I press the top button, so I can easily press them fast back and forth. But with my right, I don't have the same comfort because of the position of the stick. For me, the angle that I'm using, so I have to use it like I'm pressing this one and then pressing this one. So for the left, it's one finger, very easy, very comfortable. But for the right, I have to do this. But it's fine because I'm using this additional back button for reloading. So I'm running here, I am crouching or sliding, and then I'm jumping with this one and reloading with this one. So it's fine because, when I have to reload, I have time to do this. It works. But I would really like the top buttons additional to this. I wouldn't change this too much, but I would add these 2 more additional buttons. But it works. Now let me tell you the best about this controller. I think all the buttons are great. These face buttons, probably my favorite. Why? Because they are bigger. These face buttons are huge. I love pressing these big face buttons. I don't use them a lot because I'm playing mostly, Battlefield 6 and all that. But these face buttons are amazing. They are big, they feel amazing, they are clicky. And it's just the size. I think this is better to have a bigger button. I don't know why more controllers don't do this. And the label is also nice, they look good. So they might not be the best feeling when it comes to pressing it, but it's the combination of a good feel and the size of it. I just really like the size that it has. Really, really, really like it. Sounds nice. So every single button here is good. Like the D-pad is not the best, but it's very good. It's very good. Like it's better than the G7 Pro, I can tell you that. I like it a lot more than the G7 Pro. I like the D-pad, but I don't use it a lot. So for what I use the D-pad, I think it's as good as I need it to be. These LB, RB buttons are probably my least favorite buttons, but the triggers are great. These clicky triggers feel great. They do have some travel distance. It's not like super short. You can see, let me quiet this down. You can see, it has some travel distance, but it feels great. Like I have no complaints at all about these triggers. And again, the buttons feel great. The D-pad is good enough. It's not the best, but it is good enough. Maybe if it was a little bit more convex, more like this, maybe like other D-pad that I have. But it is up there. I really like it. So now, the best about this controller are the sticks. Okay, these are JS13 Pro TMR joysticks, supposedly the same as the G7 Pro 8K, but the performance is not the same. The performance is not the same. The resolution is significantly lower than on the G7 Pro 8K, but it's still 1,000, 1,200 based on this test. But in another test it's like 2,000, so I'm not sure why I'm getting 2,000 steps in one test and I'm getting 1,200 steps on the other test. But look at this linearity. The linearity is God tier. This was with my hands. With my hands, I got 95.4% linearity. Let me show you this bigger here just in case. This is incredible. The sticks on this controller feel amazing. Look at this. I'll show you the numbers here. Look, resolution 1200, linearity over 95% with my thumb, not with a machine. If you do this test with a machine, it will be better. No question about that. This is very good. Now, tremor is 72%. I don't know why. See, I'm not sure what's going on. I tried different USB ports just in case that was a problem. But I'm getting the same super high tremor with the G7 Pro 8K and with other controllers. Maybe the test is not it's not reading right or something, because I don't feel that as an issue at all. See, this controller feels very, very stable, very smooth. Even when the resolution is not as high as, again, the 8K G7 Pro. I'm comparing it because this has supposedly the same sticks. The performance on this is higher, like it has a lower input lag and the resolution is significantly higher. It's more than 4 times the resolution of this one. But when I'm playing the game, it's not that big of a difference. When it comes to the resolution, when I'm panning the camera, the motion clarity of this is amazing. It is super smooth. So, and also look at the centering, the drift. It centers so well. Look at this, 0.3%, 0.4%. It centers so well. So I really like the force that the stick has going to the center. It keeps the stick centered and it has no inner dead zone, which is a must, of course. So playing with this controller, first person shooter games, is amazing. The only downside right now is that the stick is not tall enough. I need the stick to be taller to have more precision when aiming, and that's like the biggest downside. I mean, you buy a controller to play first person shooter games and then it doesn't have the taller stick. Maybe if you have the stick caps, that might not be a problem for you, but for someone who doesn't have that, it would definitely be a big downside. I wish they included the sticks and charged more money for the controller. I would definitely prefer that, but it seems like they don't have too many of them. So of course the triggers, you can change them from micro switch to analog, and it works very well, no problem. So before I go into the app and show you the options, again, the controller is great, the buttons feel great, the sticks are absolutely amazing. The only thing with this controller is the vibrations are not great. Now, it has gyro, and the gyro works, and I'm gonna recommend you to check out this video if you want to learn more about gyro in general, and specifically about the gyro performance of this controller. Check out this video. I'm gonna link it in the description of the video, from Garrett's Stories. He knows about gyro. This is like the best controller review I have ever seen. So check it out. I tried the gyro, and I have to say, it is usable for me. I'm not a gyro expert. I don't have a lot of experience playing with gyro. I use it for fun, like, okay, let me try some gyro aiming. For that, it is very usable, very enjoyable. Now, I cannot tell you this is gonna be one of the best gyro controllers out there, but the biggest problem with gyro is that you cannot even use it if you don't have the settings on the app, or if the controller doesn't have the input or native support for Steam, so you can calibrate the gyro and map the settings and all that. You cannot even use the gyro. So most of the controllers I have that have gyro, it's unusable. Like, I cannot even use it. Or maybe you turn it on, but then the sensitivity is too low, and then you have to move the controller too much or something like that. So this controller, when it comes to the gyro, you can come here and map the gyro to your right joystick. You can also do it to a mouse, but it's a problem to do that. I'll talk about it maybe before we end the video. So if you map it to right joystick, you can set a button. You can just turn it on always. You can hold the button to use the gyro. You can just toggle it on. And also a very important option that they have, and I have not seen this option in other controllers, and I feel like it's the best actually. You can set a button that you can hold. So basically the gyro would be on all the time, so you can move the camera, aim all the time, and then you can have a button that you hold it to reset your hand position. So it basically turns off the gyro. So I'm gonna do it, for example. I turn this on, the gyro is on all the time, right? But now here's the problem with gyro aiming. You're aiming to the ceiling, you're like, okay, you know, for example, you're like this, okay, now how do I have my controller facing forward and then me looking forward, right? So what you can do is you can just press that additional button that I set. Let's see if I have to select the button. So I'm gonna select R4. Select R4 for that. So R4 is the one I'm using for reload. So while I'm pressing that button, which I have mapped for reload, there's no gyro, right? So when this happens, then I'm like here, and I need to reset. No, well, here's no problem. So if I'm here, if I'm looking forward, but the camera is looking up, I can press that button and then do this, and then turn it on again, see? It's a way to reset. See, if you're like this, for example, if you're like this, and you wanna go more to the right, you can do this, see? See? So this mechanism to reset your controller position with a button that you hold, and then as soon as you remove your finger from the button, it's working again. I feel like that is the best option, and most of the controllers don't have that option. So you have that for the gyro. You have this sensitivity, which is very important, to have a very high sensitivity for me. For the gyro to be usable, the sensitivity has to be very, very high. And then you have the horizontal vertical ratio, which is a common setting. Very important too, because sometimes you don't want the camera to move up and down as fast. You want the gyro to move faster horizontally. So you can set that ratio here. So you can just do minor adjustment vertically to control the recoil, and a faster movement horizontally. So that is important, but then even more important, the gyro here has a curve. This is a big deal because I have the sticks with a linear curve, but then the game has a concave curve. So the game has the opposite curve. So if I set the gyro to linear, it is too slow for me. Too slow because I would like the game to be linear too. But if the game is linear, then I cannot use the stick very well because it will be too fast near the center of the stick. It would just be too fast, very hard to control for aiming. So I do want to have a curve in the game, but then that curve slows down the gyro. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use on the gyro this convex curve to compensate for the concave curve of the game. So the gyro feels closer to linear, so it's faster. And I think it works great. That's the way I have been using it. It works very, very well. So these settings, that's what makes the gyro usable more than the actual quality of the sensor. So you can have the best gyro sensor in the world if you have no settings, and then you're holding the controller and then the camera is shaking like this all the time. In shaking, you cannot even use the gyro. So I feel like this is a very, very, very good setup that you can have to actually use the gyro. Now, when it comes to the sticks, again, this is the highlight of the controller. The sticks are one of the best. And one thing that caught my attention was this setting that we have is called jitter factor. Then you have the option to make the sticks smoother or more nervous. So it's like This will reduce the resolution a lot. The resolution, if you drop this to the bare minimum, the resolution, the precision of the sticks goes down to 150. So you go from 1000 to 150, that's huge. So I would never do that, but for people who like to use aim assist, this Leadjoy RC, so basically you turn it all the way to the left. What that's going to do is that it's gonna make the coordinates of the stick nervous. So let's say you input this way and the stick is gonna go that way, but it's gonna go like this. Rather than going smoother, it's gonna be crazy. So when you have that, nervousness, the aim assist is gonna snap. So basically you're making aim assist more aggressive. It's a way of cheating, if you ask me. So I would turn that off. I turn off aim assist completely in the game. But it is an option. And then smoothing does the opposite. Smoothing just makes it more serene. But I feel like it's not necessary because these JS13 Pro sticks are so smooth that I would not reduce the resolution, the precision of the sticks. I would not reduce it to use this. But when it comes to customization of the linearity of the sticks, this is probably the best I have seen, because you can clearly see all the points we have here. You can customize it, go up and down and make the curve any way you want. Now I wouldn't do that because I think it's better to have linear on the controller and then a curve on the game. But the options are there. So yeah, and then of course you have the option to have an anti-dead zone. They call this compensation. So when the game has a dead zone, which is most of the games are not first-person shooter competitive games, then you play your Dark Souls, something like that. It has like 30%, 40% dead zone. You have here the option to compensate for that, and also for the outer edge. You also have that option, but I've never needed to do that. And of course here you also have this manual calibration of the center, but I feel like this was not necessary because the centering of these sticks is like as good as I've seen it. This is just amazing. So sticks are amazing on this controller, absolutely incredible. So and then you have macros, and you're gonna update the firmware, and it seems like they have been improving and adding things, and they're working on it. So overall, what my feeling from this controller is that it seems like this is a new company with experienced people working on the development of these controllers. This doesn't seem like a new company of people who are just getting started and they don't know what they're doing. This controller feels like it was designed by people who know very well what they're doing, very, very good developers, engineers, whatever you want to call it. And it is not better because they were trying to hit a specific budget to be competitive, to sell more, because at the end of the day you make a $100 plus controller and that's not going to be very popular because most people don't want to spend over $100 on a controller. So if you want to be successful and grow the company, this is the most important product, is that budget controller that is actually very good and a lot of people are going to buy it. And in my opinion, the only factor that this controller is lacking, that if it had that, I would tell you run and buy this controller, it's just unbelievable, is the vibrations. If the vibrations of this controller were as good as the original GameSir G7 Pro, which is not the best, but I'm talking about just that level, I would tell you run and buy it. Run and buy it. It's absolutely amazing. But for me, vibrations are very important, and this controller is not excelling there. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad, but it's not great. The G7 Pro, the original G7 Pro, had much better vibrations. So that's it, really. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions.